All right, let's dive into a question I hear all the time, the humble push-up. Is it really just a warm-up exercise, or can this classic move actually build some serious, noticeable strength? Well, we're going to find out.
So here's the core question we're tackling. Can you get measurably stronger? And yeah, I'm talking bench press level stronger using nothing but your own body and the floor. A lot of people assume you've got to be lifting heavy iron to build real muscle. But, what does the science have to say about that?
And this is a super relevant question right now, because according to the American College of Sports Medicine, bodyweight training, or calisthenics, has been one of the biggest fitness trends on the planet for years. It makes sense, right? People love it because it's so accessible. But that debate about whether it can truly make you strong, well, that's still raging.
Which brings us right here. We're going to put the push-up under the microscope and really get to the heart of this debate. Is it just for endurance, or is it a legitimate workout for strength?
This really frames the whole argument perfectly. On one hand, you've got that common gym wisdom, right? The idea that push-ups are for endurance, for banging out a ton of reps. But if you want to get strong, you absolutely have to add weights. But on the other hand, researchers started asking a different question. What if we treated the push-up like a bench press? Is your own body weight actually enough resistance to spark real strength gains?
So let's see what happened when the scientists put this whole idea to the test. And trust me, the results might just surprise you.
Okay, so here's the setup. Researchers grabbed two groups of guys who were already moderately trained and ran a 4-week study. The bench group did what you'd expect, the classic bench press, adding more weight over time. The push group, though, did only push-ups. But, and this is the absolute key, they weren't just doing more and more reps. They were constantly moving to harder and harder variations of the push-up.
And this is all built on the single most important principle in strength training, progressive overload. It really is the secret sauce. All it means is that you have to keep making the exercise more challenging. That increasing demand is what signals your body, hey, we need to get stronger to handle this. It's all about the difficulty of the work, not just the volume. So, what were the results? Well, check this out. After just 4 weeks, both groups got significantly stronger. Now, yeah, the bench press group saw a bigger jump in their 1-rep max. No huge shock there. But look at the push-up group. They increased their bench press strength by over 3% without ever even touching a barbell. That is a massive finding. The takeaway here is so powerful. The study literally concluded that doing progressively harder push-ups is a viable alternative to the bench press for getting stronger. The science confirmed it. You can absolutely build real, measurable strength with just your body as long as you keep upping the challenge.
Okay, so that's what the data says in a controlled lab setting. But does this actually hold up in the real world? Without a team of researchers watching your every move. Well, let's look at a story from someone who did exactly that. This comes from a user on Reddit who decided to document his journey. He committed to doing 100 push-ups a day, and the results he saw were so dramatic that people literally accused him of taking steroids. I mean, come on, that's a pretty incredible testimonial for a simple exercise, right?
And here it is. This is the big aha moment that connects everything back to that scientific study. After months of doing nothing but push-ups, he walks into a gym, hops on a bench press machine just to see what would happen, and was totally shocked to find he could press 200 pounds. It's the perfect real-world proof of that strength transfer the scientists saw in the lab.
And the reason this works is actually pretty simple. It's just biomechanics. The push-up and the bench press are incredibly similar movements. They both hammer the pecs in your chest and the triceps on the back of your arms. So when you build strength in those muscles with one exercise, that strength carries right over to the other.
So how'd he do it? This timeline is a perfect example of progressive overload in action. He started out barely able to do 20 push-ups on his knees. Soon, he was doing 100 a day, but here's the clever part. He focused on doing them faster. Getting the same amount of work done in less time, going from 20 minutes down to 10, is a form of progressive overload we call increasing density. The workout gets harder, your body adapts, and you get stronger. Simple as that.
And all of this leads to this really amazing, empowering idea. You don't need a fancy gym membership to get strong. Your body is all the equipment you'll ever need. So, the real question is, how can you do this for yourself?
Here it is. This is the exact blueprint, pretty much the same method they used in the study.
First, you start. Pick a push-up variation you can handle for about 6 to 8 reps with really good form. Second, you master it. Just stick with that exercise until you can nail 3 sets of 8. Then you advance. Time to move on to a harder version. And finally, you just repeat the whole process. That's the loop. That's how you get strong.
So what do I mean by harder variations? Well, you've got a ton of options. To make things easier, you can change your angle by doing incline push-ups against the wall or a bench. To make them harder, you can change your hand position. Bringing them close together for a diamond push-up will absolutely blast your triceps. Or you can start focusing on one side with an uneven push-up, which is an awesome step towards that holy grail, the one-arm push-up.
But you know, the most important thing to take away from all this is that progressive overload is a universal principle. This isn't just some neat trick for push-ups. You can apply this exact start, master, advanced repeat cycle to bodyweight squats, to pull-ups, to anything. It is the fundamental key to unlocking strength.
So, back to our original question. Can push-ups make you strong? Well, I think the science and the real-world stories give us a pretty loud and clear yes. It's just a great reminder that the principle here is progression, not perfection. So the only question left to ask is, what's going to be your next step?